So we are in 4th chapter, 33 words, 4.33. Fernando Prabhu, do you want to read?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, thank you. Sreyan Dravya Mayad Yagya Jana Yagya Parantapa Sarvam Karma Kilam Partha Jane Parishamapyate. Translation. O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Partha, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. Purport. The purpose, the purpose of all sacrifices is to arrive at the status of complete knowledge, then to gain release from material miseries, and ultimately to engage in loving transcendental service to the Supreme Lord, Krishna consciousness. Nonetheless, there is a mystery about all these different activities of sacrifice. Sorry. And one should know this mystery. Sacrifices sometimes take different forms according to the particular faith of the performer. When one's faith reaches the stage of transcendental knowledge, the performer of sacrifices should be considered more advanced than those who simply sacrifice material possessions without such knowledge. For without attainment of knowledge, sacrifices remain on the material platform and bestow no spiritual benefit. Real knowledge culminates in Krishna consciousness, the highest stage of transcendental knowledge. Without the elevation of knowledge, sacrifices are simply material activities. When, however, they are elevated to the level of transcendental knowledge, all such activities enter onto the spiritual platform. Depending on differences in consciousness, sacrificial activities are sometimes called karma kanda, fruitive activities, and sometimes jnana kanda, knowledge in the pursuit of truth. It is better when the end is knowledge.
So, Lord Krishna is explaining that of the two different levels of sacrifice, the sacrifice of knowledge is superior to the sacrifice of material possessions. We can give up material possessions, right? You may give some money, we give some charity, we give something away. We think, oh, I'm very pious, I'm very good, I give away, I give in charity, I give the donation. But we can easily replace that, right? You give some money away, and then you go and earn more money, you get more money, like that. So giving material possessions, it's not the, it's the sacrifice. And it's pious, but it's not the best. Better is the sacrifice of knowledge. And the sacrifice of knowledge means that you go and you hear the message of the scriptures and you inquire about the meaning behind the scriptures. This is the sacrifice of knowledge. When we try to understand the nature of the spirit, the spiritual existence, and understand the difference between the body and the soul. So this is the sacrifice of knowledge. It's not enough just to give a little charity. It's okay, but it's not as good as the person who actually comes to hear. It's very important that people need to hear the message of the scriptures. This is what when we talk about the sacrifice of knowledge, it means getting education in spiritual knowledge. Now, we're doing a program just now in many parts of the world where we're presenting the Bhagavad Gita chapter by chapter. And we had very successful programs in India, and then we did it in Malaysia recently. And, you know, they asked people to register, and they got over 1,000 people registered to attend the class on the Bhagavad Gita. And so wonderful. And now we're doing it in Taiwan, and we do it also in Bangkok, and we do it also in Hong Kong and different places. Let everybody have a chance to hear the message of the Bhagavad Gita. Even though they may not be vegetarian, they're not chanting, okay, but let them come and start to hear. Just like one devotee was telling me, he's presenting the Bhagavad Gita, and he's got about 60 people in his class hearing the Bhagavad Gita from him. And he told me already 5 people have started to chant Hare Krishna. 5 people already started to chant japa. Well, that's a big improvement. To get people to chant Hare Krishna, that's the beginning of spiritual life. And if they're chanting, then gradually they will also want to become vegetarian. If they're really genuine, if they're sincere, right? The sincere, the sin and the sincere. So they may be sinners, but if they're sincere, then they will become chanters. So start to chant. They'll give up the sin. The sin is all the acts of ignorance, all the meat eating and everything else. But the sincere people, they will chant, and they will take Krishna Prasadam, and they will make spiritual advancement because they've come to the platform of knowledge. They actually can understand more about what they're doing. Even if they can't understand, if they just simply do these things, if they decide, I'm not going to eat meat anymore, they'll make so much advancement. So Lord Krishna is explaining the sacrifice of knowledge is very important. It helps us to understand the absolute truth. So ideally, we need to get this knowledge, right? Are there any questions? Later on, when we read chapter 7, we'll hear how there are 4 kinds of people who come and surrender to Krishna. And of the 4 people who come to surrender, the one who comes in search of knowledge, he's considered the best. He's the best. Because when he gets that knowledge, then he'll never forget, he'll never give it up. So it's important for us to get some education, understand what is the soul, understand nature of the mind and senses. This is the beginning of our spiritual life. Any question? No?
Yes,
Guru
I am
Maharaj,
Maharaj.
yeah.
Vaishnavi, go. Ask Vaishnavi.
So, Guru Maharaj, giving money, the sacrifice of knowledge is better than sacrifice of money. Like that, right, Guru Maharaj?
Yes. Yes, Krishna says that. That's what he's saying here. Sacrifice of knowledge is better than the sacrifice of material possessions.
Okay. So if somebody hears Bhagavad Gita, he gets more benefit than giving his money to the temple or something like that.
Oh yeah, you see, somebody comes and they give a donation to the temple, but they don't know what they're doing, and they can still go on and do all nonsense and sinful activities and things like that. And so, doesn't make a big deal, They give a donation. They just happen to give a donation, and then they go off. They don't think about. They don't really know much. They just wanted to give a donation. But the one who comes and sits and hears and asks a question, he takes an interest, then he's the one who's he's making a much bigger sacrifice. He's making advancement. Now, the one who gave a donation, they made a little advancement. But the one who sits and hears and who tries to understand the message, then he's really making advancement.
Yes, Maharaj, understood.
Yes, my question was about the sacrifice of knowledge. And I really like to read Prabhupada's books and read them with other devotees. But the point is that we were speaking before in Geneva, that there is no center, there is no temple, there is no many devotees. So sometimes I feel I'm lost on my island with the Prabhupada books, and I sometimes lose in enthusiasm. I said, yes, I will read tomorrow or whenever. I mean, just to point to make the importance, if I want to sacrifice the knowledge and to go really in the spiritual dimension, the importance of association of other spiritual persons. For me, right now, it's very important, because today I just feel like, I've read already so much, and I lose, motivation. That's the point about that. I was thinking that I really need to be with others to read and to share about the readings and to hear.
We know you need that. We know you need association.
Yes.
But you need to have some strength. You need to be getting some strength of your own. Can't
Yes.
always defend.
You're right.
At the time of death, when we leave the body,
Yes.
you have to, every bird has to flap their own wings in the sky.
Yeah.
When you're flying in the sky, you fly together, but every bird is flapping their own wings.
Right.
So we have to learn to stand on our own feet.
Yes.
At the same time, association is always there. There is always association. You just have to pick up your phone. You can get association, WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's so easy. You can call anywhere in the world, and you can practically see. If you get the right phone, you can call people. You can be in touch with people. You can be hearing, associating.
Yeah. Right.
So we have to have that strength. We have to. You have to have that firm faith that even if nobody's there, I'm not going to give up.
Right.
That I'm going to go on chanting, and I'll find some other people. I'll get some other people, to help me to chant with me, and
Yeah.
like that, you'll find there are people waiting, looking for Krishna consciousness. We just didn't find them yet, but they're there. They're definitely there. They're just waiting for us to come there and get them, and they'll be ready. They'll be willing. They'll be happy that, oh, where have you been? I've been waiting for you.
Yes. This remembers me the book of Shema Sundar, chasing the rhinos with a Swami.
Yes.
He speaks when he was in London. He stayed with Guru Das in London, and it was quite difficult to go around and preach and give prasadam. And finally, he was invited at George Harrison for a press conference with many journalists and people there, just to speak with George Harrison, asking questions. So he was there seated between many people. And when George Harrison came in the room, he went straight to Shema Sundar, who was seated between these 10 or 100 people. He went straight to him and asked him, where have you been? I was waiting for you since long time. Why
Yeah,
did you why did you came before?
yeah,
That's not,
it's amazing,
yeah, amazing. Yeah, people
yeah.
are waiting for Krishna. Yeah.
People are working with Krishna,
Haribol, Hare Krishna.
yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. Okay, we'll go ahead. Next verse.
4.34. Piranlo Prabhu, do you want to read it?
Yes, yes. Tad vidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti gyanam gyaninas tadva darshina. Translation. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Pure powered by Srila Prabhupada. The path of spiritual realization is undoubtedly difficult. The Lord therefore advises us to approach a bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession from the Lord himself. No one can be a bona fide spiritual master without following this principle of disciplic succession. The Lord is the original spiritual master, and a person in the disciplic succession can convey the message of the Lord as it is to his disciple. No one can be spiritually realized by manufacturing his own process, and as it is the fashion of the foolish pretenders. The Bhagavatam says, Dharmatu Shakshad Bhagavat Purnitam, the path of religion is directly enunciated by the Lord. Therefore, mental speculation or dry arguments cannot help lead one to the right path. Nor by independent study of books of knowledge can one progress in spiritual life. One has to approach a bona fide spiritual master to receive the knowledge. Such a spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender, and one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant, without false prestige. Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. Inquiries and submission constitutes the proper combination for spiritual understanding. Unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. One must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master, and when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. No one should hear, not only should one hear submissively from the spiritual master, but one must also get a clear understanding from him in submission and service and inquiries. A bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind toward the disciple. Therefore, when the student is submissive and is always ready to render service, the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect.
All right. Very famous verse from the Bhagavad Gita. Very, very famous. That brings out the need for approaching the spiritual master and tells us how to approach the spiritual master, what the process should be. First of all, tadvidi pranipatena. Pranipatena means to fall down without reservation, without thinking, oh, I'm an important person, I'm a big man, or I've got my clean clothes on, I'm not going to go on the floor. But you don't think like that. Pranipatena, you just without hesitation, we will offer our respects to the senior, to the advanced devotee, the spiritual teacher. You know, when we would see Prabhupada, we would be out in the street, but we didn't care. We'd fall down on the road and offer our obeisances to Prabhupada. And that's the first thing. So pranipatena, and then pariprashnena. That means asking questions, that we should inquire. It's the duty of the disciple to inquire in relation to the spiritual subject matter. You know, we don't just ask the spiritual master, what's the weather today, or what's a good number, or what's a lucky result. And, you know, but we have to ask things of spiritual relevance to our progress in devotional service. That's important. So putting inquiries, putting questions. And then sevaya, one should render service. We should give service also to the spiritual teachers. So we put questions, and then as repaying him for his guidance and for his question, we will render service to him, offer service to him. That service may be doing something like bringing a cup of water or bringing some fruits for him, or maybe taking him, going for a walk with him and something, I don't know, different ways you can serve the devotee. So the qualification of the devotee inquiring, or the disciple is there, and then it gives us the qualification for the spiritual teacher. Because just as the disciple has to be qualified, the teacher must also be qualified. And his qualification is Jnaninas Tattvadarshana, that not only does he know the truth, but he has seen the truth. He has realized it, and he can present it to others. Now, some people, they know, they will say, I know, but I just can't put it into words. So that's not very helpful. One who actually knows the truth, they can also tell it, they can describe it, and they can reveal it to others. So this is the duty of the spiritual teacher, that they've seen the truth and they're able to show it to us and to reveal it to us. So like that, they have to be very expert to give this knowledge. They have to understand it properly themselves and be able to present it to others. So you see that both the student and the teacher have to be qualified. And we want to get knowledge when the teacher is qualified. It's not that every teacher, if you have a good teacher, then every student will understand. The student also has to be sincere. The student also has to want to understand. Just like you may have students, you may put them in a very good school with the best teachers. They may not do well because they don't study, because they have no interest in the subject matter. So it's very important that the students are actually seriously interested in the subject matter. And they're ready to understand it carefully and to inquire about it. Then they can understand. If they don't care about it, they don't care, then the teacher doesn't care, because the students don't care. So how can the teacher teach them? If the students don't care themselves, then the teacher's wasting his time. He won't be able to teach them. So it's like that. You can understand. So Prabhupada mentioned some people who are difficult, you can't teach them, like people who are challenging, they're envious, and like sometimes people would come and see Prabhupada and they would be envious. They say, oh, why he has to sit in the big chair? You know, why he has to sit in the big chair? We're all sitting on the floor and he's on the big chair. Oh, why he has a flower garland? You know, why you make him a saint? You know, you putting flowers around his neck. They're envious. And sometimes they say, why he has to have rings? Why he has a ring on his finger? He's a sadhu. Why he has to have a ring on his finger? Well, he doesn't. He doesn't have to have a ring on his finger, but he does it just to please somebody. And so these kind of people, and some people, they put challenging questions. Challenging questions. Somebody may say, well, if you know everything, if Krishna is God, they'll say, can God make a stone so heavy that even he cannot lift it? So that is a challenging question. They're asking, can God make a stone so heavy that even he cannot lift it? That's what kind of question? It's a stupid question. You can't answer that question. It's stupid. So it's a challenging question. So these kind of people, they're not ready to understand the truth. They have to go back. They have to go back to the beginning. They're not ready to understand about Krishna. Understand?
Yes, Guru.
Guru Maharaj.
Okay, so it's a very important question. Everyone should memorize this verse. You should know this. If we say 434, chapter 4, verse 34, then you should immediately say, oh yes, the importance of accepting a spiritual master and how to serve, how to accept the spiritual master. Very important, right? Everyone understand?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Okay.
Yes, Guru.
Any questions? Any challenging questions?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I have one question. I have heard the opinion that we are conditioned by our material life and we can never reach Galoka ourselves, but only by the grace of Srila Prabhupada and Guru. Is it really so? And is there not some pessimism in such a view?
Is there not somewhat?
Some pessimism in such a view.
Is there some pessimism?
Pessimism, yes, yes.
No, why pessimism? This is a fact. It's not pessimism, it's not being pessimistic. It's a fact, it's the truth. You need the help of the spiritual master. Even you want to learn to play the piano. Can somebody learn to play the piano on their own without a teacher? Right?
Yes, right. Of course.
You're a piano teacher. Did you ever meet anybody that play the piano without going to teach, without having a teacher? Very rare.
Yes, it's not possible, I think.
Not possible, right. And so even something like playing the piano is not possible. What to speak of understanding the absolute truth? What to speak of becoming a pure devotee and being qualified to go to the spiritual world? You need help. And Lord Krishna has stated this himself. Lord Krishna has already stated that you have to go through his devotee. You can't just go on your own. So it's not pessimistic, it's realistic.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, yes.
You have to be realistic and understand you need help. You can't do it on your own. And the spiritual teacher is there to help us so that we can go back to Godhead. You go on your own and you'll have a hard time. And you have a lot of trouble and you'll make very little progress. But you have the mercy, if you have the help of the spiritual teacher, then it becomes realistic. Then there's hope for you. You want to go to Krishna, just like you want to go to the Kremlin. If you want to go to the Kremlin, you want to meet Mr. Putin, you know, and you go to the Kremlin and Mr. Putin, you tell Mr. Putin, you know, I've come from Kamchatka or Vladivostok or whatever, and I've come to see you. You know, will Mr. Putin be happy to meet us? No. You know, Mr. Putin's the big man, you know, he's the head of the whole country. You know, we may go there and say, I don't believe Mr. Putin, I want to see him, I want to talk. He's not going to meet us. But if you go through a representative, if Mr. Putin has representative, and that representative gives us introduction, then Mr. Putin may meet you. If you know the secretary of Mr. Putin, and you go there with a letter from his secretary, then you may meet him. So similarly, you want to go to God, you have to go through his representatives, go through his devotees, then he will accept us. You understand?
Yes, Guru Maharaj, it's very clear now. Thank you very much. A very good example.
Yeah, there is a question.
Krishna Guru
Bhakti.
Maharaj.
What?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Yes, Maraji, Hare Krishna. Jolin?
Yes. In the purport it says, unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. Hare Krishna, under the present situation of COVID, how can we serve you? What's the best way to serve you?
Well, serve the mission of the spiritual master is not different from the mission of Srila Prabhupada. What is the mission of Srila Prabhupada? The mission of Srila Prabhupada is to distribute this message of Krishna consciousness, to give people an opportunity to hear about Krishna. We distribute books, sometimes we give the holy name, sometimes we distribute Krishna Prasadam. So these different ways, this is how to serve, this is how we serve the spiritual teacher. By being generous and giving Krishna consciousness and trying to awaken it in the hearts of other people. Right?
Right. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Message taken. Noted on that.
Okay.
Guru Maharaj, I have heard some people, they accept Srila Prabhupada as the spiritual master, but they don't take initiation from Prabhupada's disciples. Do they also get connected to the Parampara system?
Well, we have to see. We have to see about that. I'm not sure. I wonder. It depends on their mood. What is their attitude towards other devotees? So long as they're not offensive to others, then they may try to go through Srila Prabhupada. Now, Srila Prabhupada did say that your love for me will be shown by how you cooperate with each other after I am gone. So Srila Prabhupada wanted us all to cooperate together. And Srila Prabhupada also established a governing body commission to oversee the affairs of the society, and he asked them all to work together to organize Krishna consciousness. So some people, they don't want to, they say they accept Srila Prabhupada, but they don't accept the GBC. They don't accept many disciples of Srila Prabhupada. They have their own thinking, their own ways. So, well, we have to leave that to them. Let them do what they can. Yes, there are people who are, they're very loyal to Prabhupada, and they're very faithful to Prabhupada, but they have no respect for many of Srila Prabhupada's senior devotees. So that's not very good. Of course, Srila Prabhupada's not personally present today, but, well, you could say he is present. He's present by his instructions. So even in Prabhupada's time, there were people who were in the society, but who had difficulties working in the society. They said, we accept you, Prabhupada, but we cannot accept these others. So they made their own society. And Prabhupada approved that. He said, all right, you can make your own institution, separate institution. And, Prabhupada said, I can also come and visit you and like that. So Prabhupada understood not everyone is able to work together under the one roof. But as much as possible, we want to have loving dealings with each other. We don't think of each other as enemies. We work together and, they're doing their thing to spread Krishna consciousness. Okay, very good. We're doing ours. Can they go back to Godhead? Well, if Prabhupada wants, they can go back to Godhead. If Prabhupada is satisfied with them. It depends how much we've actually sacrificed, how much we've endeavored to please Prabhupada and to work for Prabhupada's glorification. It's not that we just simply separate ourselves and we talk bad about others and criticize them. You have to. People have to develop love for Krishna. They have to develop their consciousness of Krishna. That's very important. That's the thing. How much do they love Krishna? How much are they attached to the chanting of the holy name? It's not just, oh, I'm a member of this, I'm not a member of that. That's not so important, but we have to see how much they're really attached to chanting and to doing service on behalf of Krishna. Yes, you understand?
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Yes, Hare Krishna, Yashodamai.
Yeah, I have a question also. If a devotee, they do chanting, devotional service, do offer, do puja, everything, they do every day, complete, but he didn't take initiation. So is the initiation compulsory or must do that only he can go back to Godhead?
Well, initiation is generally considered a part of the process of devotional service. If he didn't take initiation, we may wonder, why didn't he take initiation? What was the problem? He has to take instruction. He has to surrender. He must have taken shelter of somebody. As we said, you cannot just go directly to Krishna on your own. If you go to Beijing and you go to, you know, that place, what's it called, in center of Beijing where the China government live, I forget now. But if you go there and see, I've come to see the secretary of the Communist Party, Xi Jinping, Xi
Jinping.
Xi Jinping. I want to see Jusi, right? The chairman Xi. I what Washankan Xi Jusi. What? And if you say I've come from, you know, I've come from Kuala Lumpur or I've come from Guangzhou or whatever, you know, but without any introduction, he's not going to be able to meet you, you know, because he's a very big, important man. But if we go with an introduction from some of his secretaries or his some of the leaders of the Communist Party who are just behind him, if they introduce you, then he may meet you, you may be able to meet him. So the introduction is very important. The same way the spiritual master is the one who will help to introduce us to Krishna. When we have to leave the body and we want to go back to Godhead, we have to have some recommendation. Krishna says he wants to know who is the devotee of my devotee. And we say, no, I'm just only devoted to Krishna. I don't care. I don't devote myself to your devotees. So then that's not very pleasing to Krishna. Krishna says he wants people who to be devotees of his devotees. That's very important, that you have not just respect for Krishna, but also for Krishna's very dear devotees, because Krishna's devotees are almost on the same level as Krishna. But if we say, no, I only like Krishna, I don't care about Krishna's devotees, then that's not very good. So you have to have the proper mood. You want to go back to Krishna, you have to have a relationship with Krishna's devotees. Right?
We have to have relationship with devotees. Okay.
Yes, and you have to be, you know, you're taking instruction. You want to go back to Godhead, you have to get instruction. Who taught you about Krishna? Who are you hearing from? Who's guiding you? You say, nobody, I'm just guide myself, I just follow, I do my own thing. It's not good. We just heard, learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Krishna gave this instruction to Arjuna. He's giving it to all of us. We have to approach a spiritual teacher. You may not take initiation, but you have to take instruction. You have to be getting instruction. Somebody has to be guiding you. You can't just do your own thing independently without somebody guiding you. Has to be somebody there to guide you. Now, Prabhupada took initiation. Lord Chaitanya took initiation. Even Krishna had a guru. Why do we think we don't need to have a guru? Why we don't need to take initiation? Krishna took initiation. Lord Chaitanya took initiation. Prabhupada took initiation. Oh, I'm different. I don't need initiation. I don't need a guru. Oh, really? You're so different. It's not normal. It's not the process, right? You have to follow the process. So initiation is required, right?
Understand. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, you have to have somebody who's guiding you, who's instructing you. You go to Krishna and who's recommending you? Nobody, I just came on my own. Oh, really? No, you'll have to wait a long time. You may never get to see Krishna. So it's important, yeah, very important. Very, very important. We need to get somebody, some connection there to Krishna's devotee. Okay.
Guru Maharaj, sometimes they ask, there are so many gurus, how to find a guru? How to find like how to choose a guru? Like in ISKCON also there are many gurus and
Well,
yeah.
you have to know, first of all, what is the qualification of a guru? Now, if you don't know what the qualification of a guru is, then you won't be able to find one. Or if you go looking for one, you may be cheated because you don't know what you're looking for. So the first thing is you have to know what is the qualification of a guru. What's the qualification? That's essential. So how to find a guru? Everyone's an individual, they have different tastes. Everybody has their own taste when it comes to eating, when it comes to dressing. You have your own tastes. So similarly, when it comes to finding a spiritual teacher, everyone has their own taste. What are you looking for? What kind of devotee do you want? Ideally, it should be somebody who inspires you in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada suggests that you should hear from this person and you should be convinced that this person, he can help me. He can help me to go back to Godhead. He can give me the help and the direction I need to make my life successful. So you have to be convinced that this person is able to help me. So he's going to bring me to Krishna and to Prabhupada. Right? That's what you're looking for. Understand?
Yes, Guru Maharaj, very clear. Simon, do you have a question? Simon Fernando Prabhu?
Okay, so then we'll chant Hare Krishna.
I have a question. I have a question, a little question, just technical question. What is the difference between Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru?
Well, Shiksha Guru, you can have many.
Mm-hmm.
You can have many Diksha Guru. You can only have one Diksha Guru.
Okay.
First of all, you should take Shiksha Guru. You take the instruction, first of all. You get the instruction. And if you have trust that this instruction, the person's instructions have helped me, then you may feel confident to accept him as your Diksha Guru.
Okay.
And he can give you the initiation.
Very good. Yes.
But even after Diksha Guru, you still can keep the Shiksha Gurus. You can still take instruction from other people. Now, Srila Prabhupada is the Shiksha Guru for all the devotees.
Right.
Everybody has to get Shiksha from Prabhupada. But Prabhupada cannot give initiation.
Right. Okay. Very good. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes, yes, thank you. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Okay, we'll chant Hare Krishna.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Yeah.
Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki.
Jai.
Yeah.
Okay, stay healthy. Hope to see you all next week.
Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much,
Thank
Maharaj.
you so much.
Thank you very
Guru
much.
Maharaj.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much. Please accept humble obeisances. Hare Krishna.